So, welcome to today's vlog, guys, and we are live at Como, Italy. We took a 1 hour drive from Milan down here, and we've just been left alone to, see the city center and what Como is all about. So we have 1 hour here. Like I said in the last vlog, we're going to be exploring Italy plus Switzerland today. So this is the first arm of the exploration, if that's the right word to say, this morning. So yeah, we're going to be back at this square for 10:15. So now the guide has told us to just see the city center. That's really beautiful. And I'm actually hungry. So let's see if we can get something quick to eat and come with us, guys. Let's go.
In case you are wondering where I am, this is me. So we don't have a tripod, and most times we have to interchange. One person behind the camera, one person speaking. So, I mean,
We have a
now
tripod, we just didn't carry it.
yeah, we have a tripod. We have about 4 tripods at home, but we don't have to carry tripods every time we're traveling. So, anyways, this is me. This is my fit today. How do I look? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
At this point, we were just walking, the city center, and we were quite hungry, so we were looking for what to eat. And yeah, it was shocking that in that morning, restaurants were quite filled up. But yeah, come with us.
Into the city center of Como, and I stumbled on Como fan shop. So if you know Cesc Fabregas, he played at Chelsea. Fabregas is popular anyways, but if you know Fabregas, he's the current manager of Como, and I think he's planning to move. I don't know, but this is their fan shop. I mean,
That's nostalgic.
nostalgic, yeah.
You're welcome. Anywhere you see football.
Anywhere I see football, no, I must show, yeah.
So we had breakfast. It was sandwich. It was just there. Sorry it didn't make the cut. But we went back to the bus, which then drove like another 30 minutes, still on the lake, because we then needed to catch our ferry to cross us to the other side. And this is part of the old tour. So we took this ferry and it stopped us at Bellagio. Again, another village on the lake. So the lake has so many villages, and in fact we learned that the lake is actually not called Como, but because Como is the most popular village on the lake, people started calling it Lake Como, and that's how the name came about. But then this ferry was to take us to Bellagio, which is another popular village on the lake. And it was quite an interesting ride to see. I think it's a public ferry, so it stopped at different stops. And I think Bellagio was the 5th stop. So yeah, you guys will see. As we were boarding the ferry, I saw a poster on the wall, and it says that Lake Como is the most beautiful lake in the world. Do not throw trash into the lake. And I mean, after being on that water, I can see why they said that it's the most beautiful in the world. I haven't seen so many, so I don't know. But what I saw that day, it was breathtaking. And I really enjoyed the fact that as we were going past each villages, they were telling us about the villages, how they came about, and things like that. And honestly, it was such a good tour. They even showed us George Clooney's house on the lake, how much he bought it and how much he wants to sell it now. So it was quite interesting. And yeah, even showed us where Taylor Swift stayed, where she had a show in Milan last year. So many rich histories that they told us about this lake, and how things can change in the summer and in the winter. And those beautiful mountains, breathtaking. Honestly, I see why people go here to have their weddings, because you just see little houses in the middle of the water, like this one that you're currently seeing. But yeah, it was such a good tour, and I really enjoyed the history of learning about Como. And if you're actually visiting Lake Como, you could see all these places. Some of them are open to, for tourism and all of that. So, like our tour guide said, say if you want to come back, she would recommend that you stay on the lake and stay for like maybe 2-3 days just to really see the Lake Como, and the villages around it, and have a proper tour. So yeah, we've arrived at Bellagio, where we had 2 hours to ourselves, for lunch and things like that. So come with us to. So this was our first view of Bellagio, where the ferry stop is. And you can imagine we wanted something to just cool ourselves down because boy, it was 34 degrees on this day. So yeah, we just quickly stopped for gelato. And can I say it's just really classic, having gelato in Italy. It was so good. So yeah, we were just walking around trying to get where we can eat. It feels like Bellagio is such a small place, but there were so many people there. Very very touristic. I can see why it's also a popular village in on the lake. So yeah, we were just walking around just to see, Bellagio really because we had 2 hours there. So why not? Yeah, it was quite beautiful. And whilst walking, we saw this church. A lot of people were washing their head in this free water. I don't know if it's holy water. I have no idea. But a lot of people were going there to just ensure that the water touches their head. And yeah, we just wanted to see the church, and that's me in the court. The church was quite, people were in there worshiping, I believe. So we didn't want to disturb them, so we just quickly stepped in and stepped out. So yeah. Our time in Bellagio is slowly coming to an end. Huh? We can't explore. Anywho. No. So we made it back to our meeting point after our 2 hours in Bellagio. And this ferry that you are seeing is the one to cross us to where we're going to, because our next stop would now be Switzerland, Lugano. So basically, this ferry would cross us, and as you can see, it carries both human and car. And it basically took, I don't think it even took up to 15 minutes to cross us to where we were going to. And from there, we took our bus that then drove us to Lugano in Switzerland. So yeah, just a visual representation of, I think this was intriguing for me. So yeah, come and see Switzerland with us. So we're just walking towards our bus, just to, like I said, it was going to drive us to Switzerland. And we're about like almost 50 on this tour. And if you're wondering, what's this green thing that we wore on our neck and the earpiece? So that was how our tour guide was communicating with us, throughout the whole journey. So yeah, I think that was really innovative. Let's go to Lugano, Switzerland. I think it took about 50 minutes from that stop to get into Switzerland by driving, and it was such a hilly drive. It felt like we were driving on the mountain. And we also saw Lake Lugano as well. There is a land border, and our tour guide did say to us that sometimes they check passports, sometimes they don't. So we had to carry our passport, and some of us didn't have their passport, so they had to wait back at Bellagio and find their way back to Milan. So we also saw Lake Lugano, and it was less populated than what we see at Lake Como, but it was also beautiful. And yeah, at this point we were approaching Lugano in Switzerland. But yeah, I think it was so pretty. And yeah.
So welcome to Switzerland. Bienvenidos a Suiza. Nuestro chofer conoce a los hombres en la aduana, es por eso que no pararon. No es verdad. So our driver, he knows how to deal with the agents, so, but it's fine. So welcome to Switzerland. the city down there is already Lugano. La ciudad allí abajo es Lugano, es donde vamos a parar.
We safely arrived at Lugano, and our tour guide was just taking us to our meeting point, which again is the city center in Lugano. And the minute we stepped into the city center, the kind of cars that I started to see, you just kind of start to feel that rich vibe in this Switzerland. It was so interesting. But yeah, I feel like the architecture was quite different from where we were coming from. And yeah, the vibe was just a bit different than, what we saw in on the lake. So yeah, like I said, see some of the cars. Like it was quite interesting. So we walked around and we were seeing stores like Gucci, Prada, all these big brands, and it just everything just really screams Switzerland. And again, I didn't know that they don't spend euros in Switzerland, so it was quite interesting to see that. So yeah, just enjoy the city center of Lugano with us. Our tour guide really wanted us to see this church. It was optional, but we thought that why not? So this church was built in the 15th century, and it really holds good history in regards to how to see how paintings have evolved. If you're an artist and you're really into painting, she explained how the person that you guys will see it in a bit, but the person that painted, like Jesus Christ and the disciples and all of that in the church, was like an apprentice of Da Vinci. But it was in the early days of how I'm not really into painting, so I wish I could understand. I could explain the way she explained it to us, but this was the beginning of how painting started to evolve, and it was really nice to see. Like you guys can see right now, and we just saw around the church, and yeah, it was pretty to see what was built then. But I think it was refurbished a bit in the 1800s, I think. But yeah, people still go there to worship, and it was such a good historic place to see. At this point, we were back at our meeting point and it was raining. I was like, what a nice way to end our day. So we made our way back to the bus and it took us back to Milan. And I think it was under 2 hours back to Milan as well. I had a good sleep on our way back, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this our travel series. And yeah, stay tuned for more vlogs from this channel. Thank you guys for watching always and for your support. See you guys in our next vlog. Ciao.